Welcome to the final video in my three-part series on anger. What is it and how should we deal with it? I'm Benjamin Voiles. Let's go. In the previous two videos on anger, I told you that anger is rooted on the feeling of powerlessness, and that power is responsibility. From there, it's pretty clear that when we feel anger, the right questions to ask are, what am I feeling powerless about? And what am I not taking responsibility for? And I also told you that we take responsibility by making choices. So really the last question to ask is, what choice am I not making? Sometimes it's easy to take responsibility, like when the choice is super obvious. And other times it's very difficult, and we end up getting angry. The reasons it's difficult to take responsibility varies from person to person and situation to situation, but all the reasons are rooted in emotions. Anger is a conflict inside you, a paradox between two voices, one saying take responsibility and one saying I can't take responsibility. It's this conflict that creates the energy and the tension of anger and the discomfort that accompanies it. As these two sides refuse to budge, the anger builds. And when you don't want to feel it anymore, you can redirect that anger outwards towards someone or something else through blame. When you're doing this, you're saying it's their fault. They caused this. But what you're really saying is they're responsible, not me. Often, when you can't offload the energy of anger, you might lash out at someone completely unrelated to the thing you're feeling powerless about. Maybe it's because your boss was rude to you at work and made you stay late. But when you come home, you yell at the kids for being too loud, or your husband for not taking out the garbage. Your anger is due to the powerlessness you felt with your boss, not the kids and not your husband. But the anger is stuck. It's frustrated. It was trying to move you where you felt powerless, at work, but you stopped it. So now it gets released at home on the people you love. When we go into blame, we're putting the responsibility on someone else. And you hear it in our language all the time. You made me mad. I'm angry because of what you did. We're quick to blame other people when we're angry. We say that their actions justify the anger we're feeling. And while you might get temporary relief from the discomfort of anger by blaming someone, it doesn't resolve the anger. Because when you're blaming someone, you're actually agreeing with the idea that you're not responsible, and therefore not powerful. And as we've talked about, anger is rooted in the feeling of powerlessness. When you blame someone, you're agreeing with that powerlessness. You're not becoming powerful. You're not taking responsibility. You're not making choices. You're not resolving the thing that you were angry about to begin with. Now, I've done this a lot, and I still do. I was raised to believe anger was bad, so I would never allow myself to express anger, ever. And since I wasn't allowing myself to express it, I wasn't receiving the signal the anger was telling me. I wasn't acknowledging that I felt powerless. I wasn't acknowledging that I wasn't taking responsibility, and I wasn't making choices. And my life wasn't going the way I wanted it to. Conclusions. So we're angry because we feel powerless. And power is taking responsibility. And we take responsibility by making choices. This is so elegant and super convenient, actually. So many people are convinced that power isn't available to them, but they're wrong. To be powerful, you simply have to make choices and take responsibility for your life. Sometimes there's many choices, and sometimes only a few. But at a minimum, you always have the choice on how you perceive the current situation. That person who just cut you off in traffic, you can be angry at them and call them, or you can decide that maybe they're having a worse day than you, and they're late to their son's first baseball game of the season. You always have the choice to change your perspective from one that makes you feel powerless to one that makes you powerful. One where things aren't as they should be to one where things are. You can change your perspective of the world from one where there's countless problems and things that aren't right to one where things are good and people are doing their best. When you choose to see people with compassion and not get trapped in anger and blame, you're taking responsibility and you're powerful. The main problem we face is that neither you nor I is ready to take full responsibility in all situations. And for the most part, it's our own personal emotional circumstances that prevent us from doing that. So while the ideas I presented here are in my opinion, super valuable, you won't be able to eliminate anger and blame from your life. And that's okay. That's completely fine. They're still signals, and they're signals that'll help guide you if you listen to them. For now, just knowing what's going on inside you when you feel anger will completely change the experience. Now, I mentioned before how there are surely times where you think your anger has legitimate causes that aren't related to you not taking responsibility, where it's really someone else's fault, like the landlord who isn't fixing the leaking roof. Well, let's look at that for a minute. We've already established that anger rests on the feeling of being powerless. And no matter how informed you are, you're going to have occasions where you feel powerless, and thus angry. It may be because of choices you made, and thus your fault. It could also be because of choices that others made. So, if you want, it can be their fault. That's fine. It's totally up to you whose fault it is. The real beauty here is that it doesn't matter whose fault it is. You can still take responsibility. You can still be powerful. The real magic is that it doesn't matter what choices you made. It doesn't matter what choices someone else made. It doesn't matter what the conditions are that you're in. You can choose to take responsibility no matter what. You can be powerful no matter what. How awesome is that? You don't need to rely on someone else to give you power. Power is yours for the taking. It's not easy. Taking responsibility is very tough, but it's up to you, not anyone else. Now, I'm not going to say don't blame anyone, and I'm not going to say just take responsibility. Those are platitudes. If you can do it, it'll help and it'll be great for you. But most of us aren't there. We can't just change our behavior overnight. Just keep these ideas in mind and monitor yourself. When you get angry, try to remember this lesson. When you find yourself blaming someone else, try to remember this lesson. The first step to changing anything is putting awareness on it. So when you become aware of the powerlessness that supports your anger, you'll start to look at that powerlessness. And you can ask yourself if you're truly powerless and what you're not taking responsibility for and what choices you can make. Well, that's it for this video and my 3-part series on anger. If you've appreciated this video, please hit the like button. If you want to see more videos from me, please subscribe. Share it with anybody you think might find it interesting. And comment below. I really want to know how people think about anger, powerlessness, responsibility. All these ideas make a lot of sense to me, and I'd love to know if they resonate with you as well. Until next time, I'm Benjamin Voiles. So long.